Hello people, and buenos dias, and welcome to Digital Asset Observer. If you're new here, I appreciate you coming by. I think there were two of you yesterday, five of you at some point yesterday, and then when I last checked, just before making this video, there were 19. So this has actually grown a little more quickly than I anticipated, and I know 19, that may not seem like a massive number, considering some of the channels out there. It does mean a lot to me. So, welcome. We'll do a quick weekly update before we get into the swing of things. There was some positive news for QNT earlier in the week as they announced a tight working relationship with the ECB, that's the European Central Bank, on the digital euro. Ripple also had some positive news, although for most of us it was not a big surprise and a long time coming. The SEC the SEC has officially asked the judge presiding over the case, Judge Torres, to proceed with a settlement. So it's not official yet, but it's pretty official. What a turnaround. In other news, the USA and the UK reached a trade deal, and moments after, or at some point during the press statement, Trump said, "Go and buy stocks." And really the crypto market pumped after this. So as of today, we're up in crypto and digital assets quite a ways at the moment. I think XRP nearly got up to $2.50 at some point yesterday, and QNT popped over $100, and of course Bitcoin is, last I checked, unless it's had a massive dip, it's over $100,000 as well. So yeah, back to Bitcoin, which is why we're here today. Bitcoin's price is soaring past $100,000, but is it all glitter, or are there cracks in the foundation? There's a famous quote in there somewhere about all things that are gold not always glittering. Today we're addressing three big concerns. Is Tether, a so-called stablecoin, propping up Bitcoin's value? Why is the founder of Bitcoin, Satoshi Nakamoto, still a ghost? And does the CIA know who they are? And does Bitcoin even have a real use compared to coins like XRP, Quant, or Hedera? These questions should matter if you're holding or thinking about holding Bitcoin. So let's dive in and see what's happening. So, section 1, and I've called this Tether's shadow over Bitcoin. So first up, Tether, or USDT. We can actually see it here, XRP USDT chart, so that's pertinent, is a stable coin pegged to the dollar, so it's meant to hold steady at $1. It's the biggest stable coin used to trade Bitcoin and other coins, but here's the worry. Many think Tether's minting, which is creating new USDT, artificially pumps Bitcoin's price. But why? Well, when Tether mints billions, it floods exchanges, where traders buy Bitcoin, driving up demand and price. A 2018 study from the University of Texas found out that during the 2017 Bitcoin boom, Tether issuances on a certain exchange masked Bitcoin's price spikes, suggesting manipulation. They estimated 50% of Bitcoin's 2017 rally tied to Tether's unbacked minting. Tether and the exchange that I won't name have denied any wrongdoing, and I don't believe there has been any conclusive legal action that has been taken solely based on this study. Now, moving on, still on Tether, in 2021, New York's Attorney General fined Tether $18.5 million for, there's no polite way to put this, lying about reserves. Only 74% of USDT was actually backed by cash or equivalents. So if you think cash is imaginary, and it kind of is, what is it if you've got an imaginary thing based on an imaginary thing? I don't know what that is. Anyway, so only 74% of it was backed by cash or equivalents, with sketchy loans and assets filling the gaps. Great. No full audit has ever been done, just attestations. BDO did a 2024 report claiming 118.4 billion in reserves. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm certainly not the first person to highlight this, so whilst it's not groundbreaking or hot off the press, I don't think it's necessarily common knowledge. So, does Bitcoin jump every time Tether mints? Not always, no, but there are suspicious patterns. Some claim Tether minted $1 billion in December 2024, pushing Bitcoin past $100,000. A gentleman who does know his stuff, Mr. Bradley Kimes, says Tether buys Bitcoin with fresh USDT, freshly minted, then uses that Bitcoin to buy back USDT, creating a feedback loop, essentially creating money out of thin air.
It's all Fugazi. You know what a Fugazi is?
No, Fugazi. It's fake.
Yeah, Fugazi, Fugazi. It's a wazi, it's a woozy, it's a fairy dust. It doesn't exist. It's never landed. It is no matter. It's not on the elemental chart. It's not fucking real. Right?
We continue on. There's some data from 2017 and 18 showing a 0.72 correlation between Tether flows to certain exchanges and Bitcoin price moves. That said, correlation isn't always causation. Bitcoin's price does also track ETF inflows and market hype. Although, having said that, correlation definitely is sometimes causation, and vice versa. So I'm going to move on for that a bit and talk about regulators and regulation. Also about Tether. So, Tether is also in hot water with regulators. In the EU, the European Union, they favored MiCA or MiCA rules. We'll call it MiCA rules. Lacking an e-money license and proper bank reserves. This led to USDT delistings by Coinbase and Crypto.com in 2025, so very recently. I just want to reinforce that. They've been delisted in the EU for failing to meet regulatory standards. Alarm bells that should be ringing. In the US, Tether faces CFTC probes for unbacked minting. And incoming 2025 stablecoin laws could shut them down if they don't comply, risking Bitcoin's price. The CFTC, by the way, is the Commodities Futures Trading Commission. I think I've got my F's and my T's mixed up a little bit there, but it's the Commodities Futures Trading Commission and is a US government agency that regulates derivative markets, including futures, swaps, and certain options. And we're just going to do a quick side note here. So I want you to keep in mind the CTFC and what it does. They've announced a digital asset pilot program involving Ripple and other crypto firms to explore stable coins and digital assets as collateral. So I'm just going to kind of quickly jam that together into some sort of short sentences. And I'm going to make sure I've got my T's and my F's the right way around. CFTC regulates derivatives. The CFTC thinks Tether is bad or won't meet regulatory standards. The CFTC partner with Ripple. Derivatives are worth quadrillions. Quadrillions run across the XRPL. Do you see where I'm going? Anyway, back to dunking on Tether. So the risk here, if Tether's reserves or regulatory clarity are shaky, a collapse could tank Bitcoin's price. So why does this all matter? Your Bitcoin gains could vanish if Tether's house of cards falls, and regulators are circling, with the CFTC eyeing stablecoin fraud. So that completes our Tether section. Section 2, Satoshi's mystery and CIA intrigue. I know, yes, woohoo, CIA conspiracy. I highly recommend a song called CIA Man by the Fugs. First heard it after watching a film called Burn After Reading. It's got George Clooney and Brad Pitt. It's kind of a quirky classic, and where I first heard the word, I don't know if I can say it. I don't know if I get banned or not. But the first part rhymes with cluster. Actually, the first part is cluster, and the second part rhymes with truck. So think cluster truck, but with an F in there. F for Foxtrot. And there's lots of cluster trucks going on at the moment. Anyway, Satoshi. Who in the world is Satoshi Nakamoto? Bitcoin's creator. He, she, or they dropped the 2008 white paper, mined 1 million BTC, Bitcoin, and vanished by 2011, emailing developers that they'd moved on. Their anonymity sparks distrust. Is it one person, a group, or a cover? Nobody knows, and that's a problem. If Satoshi is alive, they could dump their coins, crashing the market. If they're a group, who controls these wallets? It is actually completely crazy to me, and it's completely overlooked or unknown by a lot of investors. In 2011, Bitcoin developer Gavin Andresen spoke at the CIA headquarters about Bitcoin, weeks after Satoshi's last email. A 2018 FOIA request, that's a Freedom of Information request, to the CIA got a GLOMAR response. And that basically means that they neither confirmed nor denied that they knew Satoshi's identity. Some theorized that the Satoshi could be a CIA project to track transactions or test cryptography. But there's no hard proof that I know of. If you guys know of any, please do let me know. But the CIA's tech investments and interest in crypto, as noted by the ex-NSA whistleblower Edward Snowden, do add weight. So why does this matter? The spectre of Satoshi looms over Bitcoin. Unlike XRP's Ripple or Hedera's Council, where you know the players, Bitcoin's origin is a black box. If the CIA or another agency knows Satoshi, it could mean hidden influence, shaking the viability of true decentralization. To be honest, even if these alphabet agencies are not involved, this is an asset with an anonymous founder. And I think that's enough said, really. So let's move on. Section 3. Bitcoin's use case. So finally, does Bitcoin have real utility or intrinsic value? Critics say no, and so do I. It's digital gold, but is it really? Gold is gold, and digital is digital. Really, it's a speculative bet, not a tool for daily use. Bitcoin's blockchain handles 7 deals a second, takes 10 minutes to confirm, and fees hit $10 to $15 in 2025. Some of the fees were lower, but the point is it's not predictable. So you can compare that to some of the ISO 222 coins built for banking's new messaging standard. We've talked about this before, but it's worth just touching on again. XRP's ledger settles 1,500 payments in 3 to 5 seconds for a fraction of a penny and is used by Santander and Bank of America. Well, they're testing it. Hedera's Hashgraph processes 10,000 deals a second, also for a fraction of a penny, involved with IBM and Google. QNT's Overledger links all these together, ensuring and enabling seamless data swaps. There's other tokens too, Stellar, XDC, also ISO 222 compliant, and they handle remittances and trade finance with fees very, very cheap as well. There are some other good tokens as well that I haven't mentioned. So Bitcoin's use case, is it a store of value? Maybe, but it's clunky for payments. Unlike gold, it has no physical backing. Its value is faith-based, driven by scarcity, the 21 million cap. Also, I read somewhere, I need to verify this, so this is just something I think I've read, that there's actually no reason they can't make more Bitcoin. But don't quote me, that's just something that popped into my head. I'll look into that. So, scarcity is not a real use case. Utility technology that solves real problems is a use case. So, why does this matter? If you're betting on crypto for the future, utility coins like we've talked about offer practical uses where that Bitcoin cannot match, saving you money and time in a digital economy. And this is not financial advice, may I remind you. So we're wrapping up now, and having said all this, obviously Bitcoin has made millionaires and may continue to do so. I absolutely do not want to see people lose out if it comes crashing down under its own weight. Some people speculate it goes into the millions of dollars, and if it does, I'll genuinely be very happy for all the investors who do well out of it. And I'm not saying don't own any. It's good to diversify in this market, but for me, all of the stuff we've just been talking about adds up to a big slab of suspicious, where am I going with this analogy? It adds up to a big slab of suspicious pie. So there we go. Tether controversy, regulatory and reserve grey areas, the Spectre of Satoshi mystery, maybe or maybe not known to the CIA, and Bitcoin's use case falling short of real utility. The new financial system approaches, but Bitcoin's shadows loom. What do you all think, bullish or bearish on BTC? Let me know. And remember to do your own research, you never know what you might find. I appreciate you all watching through to the end, and have a great day or night, and I'll see you on the other side. I'm going to finish my coffee. Goodbye.